Your boy just hit Grandmaster, and in this video I want to share with you guys two things that I've had actively on my mind in these games, and something I'm actively working on, which I think has contributed to some of my success recently. So join me as we go through that. But first I want to show you guys a cool clip and talk about something else first. And that is this clip here, where I will flash to hit the Orianna and also maintain my aim and damage on everyone else too. I actually really like this play. I thought it was really cool. Could have been way better, but still, it's what it is. I've liked it still. And what I want to talk about is that I do coaching. So if you're interested in coaching, message me on Discord, whatever you want, and we can sort that out. I'll do lots of different coaching. I'll do VOD reviews, which are pretty cheap, I would say. And then I'll do 2 to 3 hour VOD reviews, or no VOD reviews, coaching sessions where I watch your game, comment on your games, etc. It's a whole thing. I've got videos on YouTube of that too. And lastly, if you're in Europe West, I'll do some special offer where I will play with you for almost an entire day. If that is something you're interested in as well. The entire goal there is that I will do everything I can in that day to teach you everything and help you implement things. Just like the coaching, but way more in depth for any elo. So yeah, now we're going to get going to the actual knowledge. Or for the sake of the video, we'll make it free. And this here is just to not ego. This Kalista here is a cringe stream sniper that is challenger, whatever. And I thought I'd do a funny clip here, not realizing everything. And I entered my entire team here, and they all died. And Kalista completely fisted my Daisy. I thought it'd be funny if my Daisy would kill the Kalista, but I didn't think about this, and I completely trolled this play, right? And after this, we lost the game. So this is a lesson, and something I just feel is necessary. Like, you can do fun plays, but you have to realize that you can lose the game for it. And you can get a lot of wake-up calls in the game. Sometimes you can only get one. And unfortunately for this game here, there was no wake-up call. Because sometimes you can run it out mid one time and int, and it'll be fine. But sometimes you'll do one in player, and it's over. And in this case, yeah, it was over. So my number one thing, which is obvious to anyone, don't do any fun plays. Always focus plays to win, right? I mean, it's such an obvious one that I just didn't feel like adding it, but I just really kind of wanted to call out this disgusting Christopher stream sniping. So yeah, we'll actually get to the thing now. So now we'll get to the actual knowledge. And when you have a lead like I have in this game here, I have a collector versus Sivir, right? You sometimes don't need to accelerate your lead anymore, because even at this point here, you have even income. You're still gonna have your lead. But what I did here is I ended up egoing once again. Or not really ego. I would do this in lower elo and it'd work out fine, right? But in higher elo, you have to take what you get and sometimes not try to expand on it much more and then play the game out, right? So like, I was lucky to get a lead here. It worked out well. But then doing these random 1v1s to try and snowball more, it's not always going to work. It works a lot more in lower elo, right? But this is something I have to extremely focus on at this point, where I'm not trying to do these random plays because it can end badly. This happened against the stream sniper as well, right? In another game. So yeah, it's just one thing to care for. We did end up losing this game too. The 113 Diego is apparently really cool, but I didn't like him. They griefed the game as well. I called AP. Vladimir locked in AP, even though he's first time in Vladimir. And he's like, sorry, you have to go AD. I didn't want to play AD this game. I was forced AD. But still, I could have probably won this game. But my team completely griefed. They played top lane. They didn't rotate for dragon. We lost every single dragon, even though I was this fed. Because they were just simply playing around this Vladimir, right? So even though we probably would have lost this game anyway, I tilted extremely hard because my team would not play around me. But that initial int that I did was very bad, and it's not something I should do. I wasted both my barrier and my flash. I maybe should have waited for the dragon right. If I'd paid attention to the dragon timer, I maybe wouldn't have gone for that and just wait for the dragon right, and then I could buy time. My team would probably not lose the dragon. So there's a lot of factors at play here. Even though, like, ultimately at the end of the day, I do think my team should have recalled and been like on dragon. And if they would have done that, then I would be more aware too. So like then I would have realized probably dragon spawning and not been so thirsty like to just keep stomping this Sivir. But it is just, it is what it is, right? So when you're ahead, don't feel like you have to force to get a bigger lead, right? It'll come naturally. But this Civ is sitting under the turret, and I'm continuously trying to dive her and do stupid shit, and it's not working out, right? Then it's obviously bad. But if you get fights or skirmishes, so like force fights, it's gonna work. But in these cases where you're like overly forcing it, it's not gonna work for me, right? And that's something I'm actively trying to do as well. If I get a BF sword or I get a lead, I actively try to not kill people. And I really think about if I can kill them or not. Because if I don't, then it's just going to be int, right? I think there's some other things I want to say here too, but it doesn't come to mind. But for the most part, that is it. Oh yeah, when I play jungle, I have the same philosophy. Like if I get jungle, I get ahead, I just care about maintaining my lead. Because it's so punishing to lose your lead in jungle. So like then I'm giga focused on not losing my lead, right? But it is much harder for me to do this when I'm playing ADC, because I just feel so much more compelled of like killing the enemy ADC. But if you jungle, you just farm your jungle and then you pick the fights that you want, right? But when you're ADC, you're locked with other ADC and you like you just feel like you have to run them down. You don't have the same like kind of freedom that jungle has. So like I feel like my idea of like maintaining lead in jungle is correct, but I'm not able to like transfer it completely to ADC, and that is something I'm actively working on. But again, if this was gold or something, it would 100% work, right? But I shouldn't have done the play right before Dragon spawned, right? So like if I would have done this another time, it probably would have worked. But there's been 2 games that comes to my mind where I've lost my lead, and it's been a major lead like this here by just doing a stupid play like this. And there's no need. I can keep farming and I'll keep my 2k, 3k, 1k, whatever gold lead I have, right? And I'll accelerate it in team fights. So again, this has been a major focus for me. And for the last one, I have probably a lot of games, but right now I don't find one. But this is also a good example. And this is oftentimes more than not just a lose less kind of strat, right? And what this revolves around, and to give you an example, because I'm sure you've met this before, is you're winning really hard, and then the enemy seems to deny all sorts of logic in the entire game, and they create a deathball. They will not go to objectives, they will not do anything, they'll just be a 5-man squad walking around like a deathball, and just killing, or like trying to kill everyone, right? They're not going to separate, you're going to go kill someone top lane, they're alone, but their entire team's there, right? And this is something I've thought about a lot recently, in jungle as well, because so many times will I catch myself, people fighting and dying, or something, when I feel like they shouldn't be fighting or dying, because we could just play for my spike and just play the game out naturally. But then that doesn't happen, right? So for games where you're losing, I highly suggest you to think about this deathball thing, right? And how you will usually implement this is if dragon's about to spawn in a minute, or like something like that very closely, you just go to your team in a group. You just ignore farm because you're not going to get any stronger anyway, right? And you just stay with your team for like a minute, right? You just ignore lane, like whatever. You just go with your team. Just be with them, let them farm, do whatever. Just sit with them, right? And just wear out the objective when the dragon's dead, then you can go back to doing what you want. But just grouping early and just being with someone and not trying to like focus so hard on your spike, because usually fights are like going to like happen right around the objective, or maybe before or right after, right? And here we can see like dragon, whatever, I want the infinity edge, but then I'm like, I want to recall, I want to get infinity edge, and we're winning this game, right? But again, even if you like stay with the team for a minute sometime in the game where you feel like a fight might happen or something, or like around an objective, like you're not losing that much, right? So like the amount of like things you can lose in comparison to like the potential reward is so big that it's worth it. It's like, would you gamble $1 for like a 10% chance to win $1 million, right? Like, of course, it's just $1, right? It's like in the games where it's extremely bad, this becomes even more important to like consider. And I'm not saying it's correct or it's bad, because obviously the correct play would be to do something else, but this is solo queue, right? So you have to adapt. And one of the adaptations is that deathball, so just have it consciously in mind. Think about it. But again, we're winning here. It is very tempting for me to get an Infinity Edge here, because if we get a fight with my Infinity Edge, right, then that's good. We are guaranteed to win. But now I'm sitting on 2.8k gold. I could recall, but my team is probably going to fight anyway. So what do? I just group with them. It's in to stay, right? That's what I say. Because like I want to recall, I should spend my money. Like even if I can take a last fight head, not buying Infinity Edge, whatever, and then they engage, so they want to do the fight, so I join in. And I wait a bit, right? But again, just as like, even if you have gold or something, just staying with your team, just delaying it because like the potential fight. Like there are so many outcomes of this. Like I took both ults here and we can see that it works out great, right? And this works out. But yeah, that's the last kind of concept. Like think about grouping more, even outside of objectives. But don't do it too often. But like try to find one point in the game at least where you could consider or how could have considered to group. So like if you have a random skirmish that happens in your game and 3 or 4 people in your team die, even if it wasn't a fight for Baron or Dragon, go back on that game and look why they fought or like what happened. And then you were probably bot lane, mid lane or something, just farming waves, like doing what is actually like theoretically correct. But it would have been better if you were with a team, right? And if you can find that moment, that point to group and like neglect farm for a small moment, that's going to be huge. And there's so many times I can think back of this, right? Even again in winning situations, but especially in losing situations, this is even more important to do, right? Because creating that deathball at times when correct can have such a positive effect, and you lose some game anyway, right? So again, I've talked so often about like playing for spikes, farming up items, and playing objectives correctly. But again, sometimes you have to break away from what is correct and do the most correct incorrect play, and that is something to sometimes to do this deathball, right? Because again, the enemy might not group, and then you have numbers advantage. So even if you guys are behind, you might still win. And dropping 1 minute waves, like not farming for a minute, doesn't actually hurt that much. So that is something I just wanted to bring up to you. Just think about that later stages of the game, especially if you're losing. Just consider grouping, even if you feel like you need an item, even if you feel like you need last like Lord Dominic's or whatever. Just let it go. Just try and find that moment to group and play around it. I've done that in the coaching session lately as well. I just told them to go with their buys, right? Just stay with them. Literally just stay on top of them. Just try and get as many people together as possible. Like if you have one guy that is strong, go with him. Just be with him. Let him farm, let him do whatever. Just be with him, right? So yeah, that's the last thing I want to talk about here. I feel like it's a good revolutionary thing that I've recently thought through, like this deathball concept. Even though it's a phenomenon you'll see in solo queue often, I don't see people talk about it a lot, but it is something I do consider to be quite important. So yeah, that is it for today. I hope you guys continue to have a good morning, night, like that, and that you're doing good. So yeah, take care, have a good one, and peace.